To some of you, this music may not mean anything at all, but to me and some others, it holds significant value. It reminds me of simpler times when all I had to worry about was which Pokemon to add to my team and how in the world am I going to defeat the champion while my battery indicator is running red mid-fight on my Game Boy Advance. For those of you that don't resonate with this song, I'm sure you felt the same feeling through either another song or another medium such as movie, game, book, or even a familiar scent. Nostalgia. That bittersweet longing for a past sentimental memory. What a dreamy feeling, isn't it? Of course it is. This feeling allows us to escape from our present stress and future concerns into the past, but with rose-colored lenses. We tend to forget the hardships that we might have went through with this nostalgic feeling. Exams and projects that influences our educational or career paths. Arguments leading to irreparable relationships with family or friends. Our parents' divorce. And even a passing of a family member or friends. The word nostalgia originated from a combination of two Greek words, returning home and pain. So quite literally, homesick. But it's not like we're all physically homesick, are we? Many of us could be feeling a sense of nostalgia right now, in the comfort of our own homes. So instead, we are experiencing a sort of homesickness to the past, the good old days, to our true, younger selves. Even looking at some comments from these old Pokemon clips, we can see a common theme here. We all miss our childhood, don't we? While true, but it can't only be our childhood that we miss, right? Because I also have many fond memories of when I was a teenager. The many sleepovers, late night gaming sessions, group chats, and voice calls through the rise and fall of MSN Messenger and Skype. I also have a great sense of nostalgia towards the 80s. Hold on a minute, I wasn't even born yet in the 80s. In the 90s, I was too young to have any memory of that. I'm not even Japanese. But this brings up a good point, doesn't it? In recent years, nostalgia-induced media and products have been a huge hit. Research has examined the increase in nostalgic social media use during and after the pandemic compared to before. I personally also started noticing this during the pandemic, with the ever-rising popularity of vaporwave, along with the 80s and 90s city pop. Even some of the largest artists around the world were sampling from these great old hits during that time. It's as if many of us, myself included, are not only experiencing personal nostalgia, but also experiencing vicarious nostalgia. This is a sort of nostalgia to the past that isn't even really our own. Why do we experience vicarious nostalgia though? Well, let's just say that the ease of access of social media certainly did not help reduce our repeat exposure of nostalgic content in our generation. But just like how we experienced personal nostalgia, there must be something that we are dissatisfied with in our current society that allows these non-present thoughts to influence us. Perhaps it is what we perceive as the best or most simplistic era to live in, when everything was built with its own tactile purpose rather than everything all on a singular touch device. Perhaps it is the perception of an era of peace and happiness before the digital age. Or perhaps it is only because of our nature to want to put meaning behind everything, that the past feels like it holds more purpose, as the past, unlike the present, is an elusive, finished story to be uncovered. Honestly, who can blame us nostalgia chasers? With the ever-rising prices that affects our current daily lives and future, along with such a high visibility through social media of all the horrors happening all over the world lately, we can all use a little bit of an escape. Something to help us cope. And if nostalgia is your poison, then many of us are on the same boat. Besides, nostalgia is a great tool to not only help us to preserve and connect with our own past selves, but to maintain and continue to associate with others culturally and socially as well. But just know that we can never truly go back to the past to re-experience those times. Besides, overindulging in anything may end up holding us back in the long run for a potentially greater future. I definitely enjoy a great nostalgic trip and bringing up old memories with friends and family, but at the same time, we should cherish the present. Because what if this, right now, is the good old days? In 5 or 10 years' time, we may think back to this time period and say to ourselves, man, those were the good old days when times were simpler.